Welcome to Engagement Fundraising, where you'll learn how busy fundraisers like you are generating more major and planned gifts at lower costs. Brought to you by iMarketSmart.com, the software and services company that helps nonprofits raise more money more efficiently.
So I'll tell you, I've learned this in our business when it comes to hiring people from the outside, whether it's a full-time employee, part-time employee, or consultant or whatever. The best thing you can do to make sure that you do that right is to go into a room, a nice quiet room, with a blank sheet of paper. It's an amazing tool. You know, not a computer. I mean, you could use a computer if you want to, but you're going to get an email, and right? Go in there with a blank sheet of paper and a pen and just sit there and write, you know, what are you trying to achieve specifically? I mean, super specifically. What exactly do you want the end result to look like?
Hi there, I'm Tim Chatton, Marketing Solutionist at MarketSmart. On today's episode, I sit down with Greg Warner to discuss fundraising consultants and why you as a fundraiser should consider hiring one. Not sure what engagement fundraising is or why you should work with a consultant? Well, you will soon.
We're recording.
What's up, bro?
Hey, not much.
This is, it's actually a solemn day. We're not going to talk about that, though. No, let's not be down there.
No.
Let me get into the flow of this, okay?
Okay.
Tim. You know that I love consultants, right?
I do. They're like your favorite people.
Well,
Some of your favorite people.
there's some of my, consultants are very favorite. My kids are favorite, too.
Yeah.
My wife,
They're probably more favorites,
I like
so
my
I'm
wife.
guessing. Yeah.
I like my friends. I like fundraisers, major gifts, planned gift fundraisers. I love them. But I love consultants.
Yeah.
I love consultants. I remember when I first started this business, one of the early people I was talking to get advice about this, and I said, yeah, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go make friends with some consultants in the field.
Yeah, because they know what's going on.
They know what's going on. They seem smart. They seem on the ball, you know?
Yeah.
They're mature. They're weathered, tried and true, right?
Yeah.
I'll never forget. And she looked at me. She's like, oh, no, don't bother with consultants. They'll get in your way. I was like, really? So just add that to my list of people that I ignored. I ignore a lot of advice.
Some advice you should ignore.
Yeah.
Well, I like that piece of advice.
So glad I ignored that advice. God, I love these consultants. Fundraising consultants.
And that's what we're talking about today. Yeah. Why hire one?
Yeah. Of course, I'm not going to hire one.
No, because you're not a nonprofit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've hired consultants for this business.
Yeah.
Of course, I give a plug to SCORE. They're the best consultants for my business, for a small business. SCORE, the Service Corps of Retired Executives. And we were, plug, we were the business of the year.
Yeah.
Back in 2015, about 10,000 mentors, at SCORE voted us. Anyway, why am I talking about that? Oh, consultants.
Yeah,
Because, the reason why I hired SCORE was because I'd been through the ringer with some business consultants. Some are really great, some
not so good. Yeah.
Some of them are full of shit.
You got to hire the right one. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, how do you determine which one's the right one and which one isn't? So we're going to talk about that today.
Yeah.
I said a curse word just a minute ago. Sorry about that.
What'd you say?
I said they're full of shit.
Okay. I'm just immune to it now.
You're immune to me cussing.
Yeah, it just goes over me.
We had a cuss jar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not anymore, though.
No.
It wouldn't.
It became a cuss bucket.
Yeah, you need like a barrel or something.
Then it became a cuss barrel, right? Sorry if people are offended by that.
Yeah.
I blame it on the fact that I'm from New Jersey, but that's not really true.
No.
And then I blame it on the fact that I read a study. My wife sent it to me, actually, but I read this study that said that cussing is good for your soul. So.
Okay, I can buy that.
Okay, so this podcast is not about why cussing is good for your soul, though.
No, I mean, we could do a whole show on that, though, if you really wanted to.
It's a series.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's a new series on Netflix.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cussing is good for your soul. Okay, no.
No, back to consultants.
Consultants.
Yeah. They're wonderful people.
Yes, I love consultants, right? Okay, so we were going to talk about why fundraisers should hire consultants.
Yeah. Why will they make your life better? What are you looking for in a fundraiser? What gaps are you looking to fill in your organization?
Right. Okay, so let's go into empathy mode for a second here.
Yeah.
Because, I have tons and tons of empathy for fundraisers and nonprofits. Someday I'm going to actually edit this little ebook I started writing about why life is not fair for fundraisers. And I won't go through all the reasons. I mean, there's too many.
There's a lot, yeah.
But there's a lot of pressure on fundraisers that makes their life completely unfair.
They're underfunded.
Underfunded.
They've not enough time to do anything.
Not enough time.
Understaffed.
Not understaffed.
Yeah.
Not enough
They're
training.
basically under everything. They just
Yeah. Training.
Yeah.
They're underpaid.
Yeah.
They're underpaid. And then if they're underpaid, then how can you get a real superstar to work for you? And how can you keep them long enough if you can't promote them, you can't pay them enough,
Right.
So they're going to go somewhere else.
Yeah.
So let's say that there's so many of these kinds of things that result in reasons why nonprofits really need to hire sharpshooters from the outside.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have any empirical evidence on this, but it seems like some of the best and the brightest in the sector end up after a while leaving the sector and going to the other side and becoming consultants.
Yeah. In fact, I've interviewed some, and some even they'll be doing both for a little while, and they'll get hired on by the nonprofit they were working on as a consultant. It's like it's just a different role for them.
Yeah, they say, okay, I'm going to leave. And then the nonprofit's like, no, stay on. You can be a consultant.
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden we budget.
Right. Yeah.
So there's kind of all those reasons why this sector is more open to hiring consultants. Plus, there's this strange thing in every sector that if you're a consultant and you come in from the outside and nobody knows you, all of a sudden everybody listens to you.
Yeah, you're the expert, right? You can suggest things to people that wouldn't otherwise listen to you.
Yeah, they won't listen to their tried and true employees that are boots on the ground. They know exactly what's going on. So the best way to get someone convinced of what needs to be done is not to actually say it, because you're the employee, so you can't.
Yeah. You want an outsider that doesn't really have the mission as their core reason for being there, maybe, but instead an outsider, third party opinion.
And then they come in and they tell the boss, and the boss says, "Oh, that's brilliant."
Yeah.
And
but if the employee said the same exact words, they probably wouldn't be listened to.
Yes, I had one. It was a joke, but I know it wasn't true. In other words, this fundraiser, she showed me. She goes, yes, I need to show you something. And she goes over to her wall and she removed this big poster, like framed picture, that was on her wall. And behind the poster was like the drywall was smashed in. She's like, "That's where I put my head." I was like, "You're kidding." She's like, "I don't know. That was there before I got here. I don't know. Somebody else must have banged their head there." But she hit it with a poster. I thought that was hilarious.
Oh, that's pretty good. Shawshank move, right? Yeah. So I guess the first thing when bringing on a consultant is figuring out what objective your organization has. Are you trying to start a capital campaign to meet some goals with that, or do some training?
So I'll tell you, I've learned this in our business when it comes to hiring people from the outside, whether it's a full-time employee, part-time employee, or consultant or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
The best thing you can do to make sure that you do that right is to go into a room, a nice quiet room, with a blank sheet of paper. It's an amazing tool.
Yeah.
Not a computer. I mean, you could use a computer if you want.
There's more distractions on most computers. So you got email popping up. Right?
Go in there with a blank sheet of paper and a pen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And just sit there and write, what are you trying to achieve specifically?
Yeah.
I mean, super specifically. What exactly do you want the end result to look like?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Then back down from there, you can go backwards, writing down exactly what kinds of tools or information or specialties or experience that you're looking for. Because so often what you'll do is you'll hire the person because they're so-and-so's buddy. or they just have this awesome website, or because they wrote a book, or this or that, the other thing.
Or their personality is so infectious that it's like, we have to hire this person. This person's awesome. Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
But what you really should do is almost create a checklist so that then when you start to look at different people, whether it's the boss's buddy and all those people that you named, then you have to find out, can they really help us achieve this checklist of goals?
Yeah.
Start with the end in mind.
Yeah. So if they don't have the checklist, if they don't cross all the criterias, you can cross them off your list.
Well, you should.
Yeah.
You should.
Because there's tons of consultants out there. They'll specialize in different things. So you can find the person you're looking for if you spend the time.
And I'll tell you, most consultants are pretty good at saying that is not a good fit for me.
Yeah.
And they'll back away. But then there's every once in a while, there's the consultant that's just really darn hungry.
Yeah.
And is wondering how they're going to make their next rent payment. And then they'll take on something that they shouldn't take on. So you gotta be careful. You gotta be careful about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like the really good consultants, they'll turn down work all the time because
they're busy.
They're busy. They'll take on projects that it's a fit, and
they don't want to harm their reputation by taking on something that they just don't know about.
Yeah, but some, they're very green and they might not be a fit.
They're either green or they're just hungry. I got to be honest, most of the fundraising consultants I know are pretty darn straight up about what they can and can't do, and are more likely to turn down work that doesn't fit.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's some hoodwinkers out there, but most of them are pretty straight up people. They just want to help.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Yeah.
So when you're interviewing a consultant, who should that consultant be meeting with to see if it's a fit?
I guess that depends
on how the organization's structured, right?
Yeah, I mean, look, if you're hiring a consultant to help you with a database urge of 3 different CRM, then that person's probably going to be meeting with the database person or the prospect researcher or someone like that.
Yeah.
But if you're talking about a capital campaign, I mean, that's going to be a whole different thing. It could be the board. It could be the executive director. Could be the chief development officer. Could even be the major gift officers, so annual fund manager. Yeah.
Yeah. So it just depends on your goal and what you're looking for.
Yeah.
So beyond just having a fresh perspective with this outsider, what are the other benefits that you can hope to get from hiring a consultant?
Right. Okay. So we already said that oftentimes you're not going to have the weathered, is that the best way to say it? Seasoned. Good.
Seasoned.
I think seasoned sounds better. Yeah. To have the seasoned expert on your staff for a particular objective, you may or may not have that. And if you don't, then you're going to want to hire that person. So that's one of the biggest reasons probably is you just don't have that expertise and that skill set in your building.
Yeah.
So you've got to outsource for that and bring someone in with that kind of expertise. But also sometimes it could be that you just want a fresh perspective, or maybe you're at a stalemate. 3 different people in your organization have 3 totally different ideas about how you should go forward.
Yeah.
You need the consultant to come in and kind of help you make that decision, which sometimes might be that the consultant will go out and talk to donors on your behalf, so that the donors can actually feel comfortable talking to someone. In that way, they can be anonymous and they can give their advice to that consultant, who will meet with several of them and then be able to come back and say, hey, donor never would have told you this to your face, but here's the deal. Or the group of donors, here's the deal that they didn't want to tell you because they like you. Yeah. You guys have a long-standing relationship. They didn't want to hurt your feelings, but here's really what's going on. The programs that you're doing, they think you're doing the wrong programs. They want to give for X, not for Y. Yeah.
Learn about another Market Smart podcast in this quick break. This week, I want to encourage everyone to check out the other podcast that I host, How I Built My Fundraising Consultancy, found at www.imarketsmart.com/consultants. The bi-weekly podcast gives you a look into what it takes to be a fundraising consultant by interviewing the best and brightest in the nonprofit world. You'll also get a taste of each consultant's fundraising approach by listening. Episodes release every other Tuesday. Visit imarketsmart.com/consultants to listen. That's imarketsmart.com/consultants. You can also find how I built my fundraising consultancy on Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, and other podcast directories. Now, on to the rest of today's episode.
So there's that fresh perspective kind of orientation. There's the benefit of hiring someone really great, but not being, so to speak, saddled with their salary, which would be a high salary for a long, long period of time when you only need them for 6 months. Does it make sense?
There's tremendous cost to having an employee, and consultants are not. You don't have to pay for their health care, stuff like that, as a consultant.
Yeah, so it's very flexible in that respect.
And the funding, like a capital campaign, you can budget for, hey, in this budget of the capital campaign, we're going to budget for a consultant.
Yep.
It's easier to do that way.
It's a temporary thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, very flexible. This way, you get someone who's done a lot of different things and has a wide area of expertise. They've been through it, man. They've been through the wars.
They know what doesn't work.
Yeah, and they know what does work.
Yeah.
So there's no reason to reinvent the wheel. They already know it. Bring them in.
Yeah, and since it'll be a new strategy perhaps that your donors haven't experienced yet, it'll be fresh to them and you'll raise more money as a result.
Yep. And here's one that we see all the time when they sign up for our blog. We'll ask them, what are your biggest challenges? And a lot of times it's board involvement or getting board members involved to actually help raise money or getting board members to understand the process of raising money, all those kinds of things. A consultant can be particularly valuable for kind of having a truth session with the board.
Yeah.
It's like a realization of like, hey, this is how it works. Almost maybe even to possibly get some board members off the board that don't belong.
It's a straight talker.
Yeah, could be a real straight talker. Because look, consultant won't have that much skin in the game. They're like, look, this is the truth. If you don't want to hear it, I mean, look, my contract's up in 17 days anyway.
Right, yeah.
I was hired to tell you the truth. If you don't like it, I mean, but it's kind of like a doctor. A doctor says you need to exercise and lose weight.
Yeah.
And they don't care. I mean, they care if you do it, but not that much. I mean, they've got another patient coming in any day.
Less people. Yeah. So when you're picking out a consultant, what's your thoughts on the individual shop versus small firms and big firms? Does that? Yeah. What's the difference with all of that?
Well, that's another one that's kind of like it depends. It depends what you're doing. If you're looking at, for instance, doing digital marketing, and you think you might work with a digital marketing firm.
Yeah.
We have friends who do that. We have a partner program.
Yeah.
Plug.
We do. Yes.
And it's made up of consultants and agencies. Maybe you would fit best with a firm like Newport One or Mal Warwick, Donor Digital. These are our friends.
Yeah.
But then maybe what you really need is heavy direct mail oriented, and you're a much kind of larger organization. So maybe you'll work with True Sense Marketing, and they're heavily involved in printing. Well, their digital team is great also. Actually, you know what? I guess I shouldn't say any of those are any different, but let's just group agencies together and say that if you're looking for direct response, let's say then you're going to want to look at those kinds of agencies. But if you're going to conduct a small capital campaign, you may just need a one-person consultant. If you're going to be doing a very big capital campaign, you probably need a capital campaign firm.
Yeah, okay.
That's got multiple people and levels that can really help you.
Yeah, it just depends on the scope of the project.
Yeah, that's well said. Thank you.
Yeah.
I could have just said that, right?
Yeah. And then does it matter these days with the internet meeting in person? Should this person be geographically close to you?
It's not completely necessary anymore.
Yeah.
It depends what you're trying to accomplish. There are some consultants that'll work purely over the internet just with Skype and whatnot.
Even if they're in the same town.
Right. Yeah, they're not in the same town, but you can get it done anyway. There's lots of training. I've heard lots of people talk about the Veritas Group Major Gift Training Program, and Pamela Groh's got training. Jonathan Gudima's got great planned gift boot camp training. He's with plannedgivingadvisors.com, I think it is.
Yeah.
So you can get, instead of actually hiring a consultant, maybe you can just kind of test them out by taking their training courses.
Yeah, a lot of them do that for sure. It's a growing trend.
Here's the bottom line is that generally, especially for capital campaigns, large amounts of money are at stake here. And you can't screw around.
Yeah.
You can't mess around. You've got to achieve the goal. You don't want to end up with egg on your face.
Just, sorry, I was just thinking about this. If you don't achieve a capital campaign goal, what happens? Is it like Kickstarter or is it like, I think Kickstarter is the one, if you don't achieve the goal, the money goes back to the person that put it in. Do you keep the money if you don't
you keep the money.
You keep the money? Okay. It just doesn't, you can't use it until the goal's
It's not
met?
like a challenge campaign.
Okay,
a challenge campaign, maybe technically you would, if you don't meet the challenge, then it doesn't happen. You know what I mean?
Because the money is donated to build that certain building. So if you don't meet the goal, the building's on hold until...
Yeah, but I'd say you get a lot of egg on your face.
You do, yeah. Okay.
I'm not a capital campaign consultant.
No, I was just thinking about that. It's like,
you
screw that one up.
Yeah, we generate the leads here at MarketSmart, and we qualify the leads automatically. That's what we do. I'm not a capital campaign consultant. I'm just saying that I know capital campaign consultants get the job done. That's the other thing is they'll hold your feet to the fire. They'll keep you on schedule. They'll pretty much ensure generally that you get it done.
Yeah. And make sure you set realistic goals, too.
Well, that's the very beginning. I mean, with the feasibility study, if they're a good consultant, they're going to let you know that you shouldn't even go for it.
Yeah. They can look at the data and say, hey, you don't have enough people in your bucket to pull from to get that.
Or the right kind of people.
Oh, right kind of people, yeah.
Or from their interviews, and if they use our survey for part of the feasibility study, with a lot of people are doing, they'll recognize that this is not worth going for.
Yeah.
Or you should lower the amount. And again, you don't want to end up with egg on your face, but the consultant can help you get there. Failure is just not an option. You've got to hit the goal. Your board members will be embarrassed. They've asked their friends. Their friends are going to ask them later, hey, I gave all that money. What happened? Did you reach the goal? Are we building the building? When are we going to see the playground?
Yeah.
I want to see what happened with my money.
Yeah. Yeah, you'll have a lot of very angry donors if you don't.
Yeah. This is not a time to improvise, right?
No, not at all.
You don't fake it till you make it in fundraising, do you? I don't think so.
No, you don't.
No. Okay, so let's see. Is there anything we didn't cover?
I think that...
Did I mention that consultants are awesome?
You did a couple times. Yeah.
Did we mention that consultants or would-be, wanna-be, could-be consultants can listen to a podcast?
They can,
about that?
Oh, we didn't mention that yet, but
No.
I host a podcast where I talk to consultants.
It's awesome.
It's awesome, yeah.
You can pat yourself on the back, but it is awesome.
Thank you.
What's it called, Tim?
It's called How I Built My Fundraising Consultancy.
Yeah.
So you can go to our website and click on the podcast area, and it's right there.
And what's that podcast about? Now I'm interviewing you.
It's me talking to a consultant about how they built their business and kind of their approach to working with clients and tips for other consultants getting started. And it's good for you as a fundraiser to listen just to see if maybe you like their spiel. And
that's
what they're
actually
all
a
about.
good thing. Right.
Yeah.
So if you're looking for a consultant, listen to the podcast. You can hear their stuff. I love when you say spiel.
That's their spiel.
A little Yiddish from the guy from, where are you from? New Hampshire?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You've heard spiel before.
I have, yeah.
That's good.
But yeah, they don't give a straight out sales pitch, but you can kind of get a sense of who they are and some of their approaches.
And they're all the same, right?
Oh, no. The amazing thing about these consultants, they're all different.
Completely
radically different.
Yeah.
You got young ones, old ones, you got different approaches. You have ones that just specialize in, donor research or whatever it is. There's a lot of different specialties we'll dive into.
Well, hopefully eventually we'll have all the best of them interviewed so that if people really want to find the best consultant, they just have to listen to all those podcasts.
Yeah, that's the idea. Yeah.
Okay. How many do we have so far? Like a dozen?
Episode 5 was just released, but 14 have been recorded. So, yeah, there's a lot.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for letting me interview you about the podcast.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. So that's consultants. We love them.
Yeah, they're great.
Be careful. Write down your goals and objectives and try and be smart about who you hire. What else? That's about it.
That's about it. Know what you're looking for and make sure you do your research.
Check out the podcast.
Yeah, check out the podcast.
All right. Thanks, Tim.
Thanks, Greg.
Thanks for listening to this episode of Engagement Fundraising. If you like the show, make sure to review it on iTunes and pass it along to a friend or colleague. If you're curious about what we do, make sure to check out imarketsmart.com and check out the How I Built My Fundraising Consultancy podcast, found at imarketsmart.com/consultants, and Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Stitcher, and other podcast directories. We'll be back next Thursday for another episode of Engagement Fundraising.